I never thought that I would be here talking about trauma, emotions, and spirituality in this way. I never thought I'd be the one peeling back the layers of pain and grief and transformation and seeing something quite beautiful. But I am here and you are here, and that means something. If you have found this space, it's because something inside of you knows that there's more to our pain than suffering. Something in you is calling for a deeper truth, a shift in perspective, a reason why life has handed you the experiences that it has. That's why I started Dear Trauma, It's Me. Because trauma isn't just something that happens to us, it's something that happens through us and for us if we are willing to see it that way. So I truly used to see trauma the way that most people do, like an invader, like something unfair, cruel, or even unnecessary, honestly. But that all changed when my life cracked open in the most unexpected way. Through caregiving, through cancer, through watching the man that I have spent my last 26 years with fight a battle that I could not win for him. In 2020, my husband was actually diagnosed with cancer, which shook the hell out of our world. It was painful. It was exhausting. It was terrifying. And if anybody has been through it, they know exactly what I'm talking about. But what I didn't see at first, or what I couldn't see at first, was that in the midst of all of that suffering, something was being given to me, something that I had been waiting my entire life to surface, which was myself. Through caregiving, I met myself for the first time. Not the version of me that was shaped by childhood wounds, or the version that my family members knew me as back then, or not by the expectations or by the fear. No, I met the raw, unfiltered truth of who I was. And what a moment of truth it fucking was. Because when you are faced with the depths of love and sacrifice and grief and uncertainty, something in you awakens. You can't unsee life the same way again. You can't pretend things are as simple as they once seemed. You have to go deeper. You have to go deeper. You have to learn things a little bit deeper than what you were doing at first before your life changed. And that's why I began to turn inward. When the world outside felt too heavy, I closed these eyes and I met the world within me. Meditation became my refuge, my therapist, my portal. And let me tell you, those moments of silence, they weren't silent at all. They were loud, deafening even. The downloads, the insight, the clarity, it all hit me like a wave, like a ton of bricks. And suddenly I understood something I had never seen before. That trauma is not just an event. It is not just pain. It is a spiritual assignment, a soul contract, a carefully placed experience designed to awaken something in us that we have forgotten. It is a mirror showing us the deepest aspects of ourselves, our power, our shadows, our resilience, our wounds. And in those meditative states, I saw the blueprint, the divine structure behind every moment of suffering and healing. I saw how our souls agree to certain lessons before we even get on this physical plane, how we choose certain parents, certain relationships, certain heartbreaks, certain illnesses, all for the growth, all for the sake of evolution. I started to see life not through the lens of why did this happen to me or my family, but I saw this as, what is it trying to reveal to us? And that shift changed everything about life that I knew past. So let me tell y'all, one of the most profound meditations I have ever had revealed something that I was not ready for. It was shared with me as clear as day that I held resentment towards my husband. Who in the hell does that? It broke me down. I sobbed uncontrollably. I didn't even realize it before that moment. But deep inside, I was holding on to resentment. I was angry at the cancer for flipping our lives upside down, angry at the financial strain, the exhaustion, the weight of it all. I was angry at Source, God. That heaviness in our home that was filled with all of those dense emotions, the way everything had changed and there was no going back. But here's the thing. That resentment wasn't something to suppress or ignore. It was a message. It was an invitation to go deeper, to study it, to dissect it, to understand it. Because dense emotions are not obstacles. They are actually teachers. They are designed to point us towards the unhealed parts of ourselves, towards aspects of our journey that require our attention. That meditation showed me that emotions are not the enemy. They are the sacred messages bringing us wisdom we often refuse to hear. And once I embraced the truth, my entire relationship with emotions changed. I stopped seeing them as problems to fix and started seeing them as portals to transformation. But here's something even deeper that my mind goes into. I don't like to call them negative emotions because those moments that we label something as negative, we give it a connotation that makes us want to push it away, suppress it, or avoid it. And anything that we avoid, what do? We never truly learn from it. So instead, I like to call them dense emotions because that's what they feel like. They feel heavy. They make you feel weighed down like something is truly pressing against your soul. They lower your frequency, making it hard to see beyond the immediate pain. But here's the truth. Density does not mean bad. It means there's something there to explore. When you stop running from these dense emotions and start studying them and start to dissect them, you begin to see the wisdom inside them. They hold messages, guidance, and opportunity for expansion. And the moment I shifted my perspective, when I stopped fighting them and started to listen to them, that's when my healing truly began. Because emotions aren't meant to be ignored. They are sacred signals guiding us back to our truest self. And in another profound meditation, and yes, my meditations became very, very deep. I mean, I would be in a meditation for 3 hours and not even realize it until my husband would come in there and be like, "Hey, are you okay?" Well, in this particular meditation, the downloads I received were quite different and more so about the spiritual realm. I was shown that in the spiritual realm, me and my husband were not just husband and wife in this physical reality, but we were connected in a way that transcended earthly labels. There's no gender roles or family structures in the spiritual realm, but brother and sister is probably the closest thing that I could describe for our physical understanding. Not in a way that diminishes our love, but in a way that reveals the oneness of all of our souls, and not just me and him, but everyone. We're all connected. And in that higher realm, there is no hierarchy of relationship, only agreements, contracts, assignments for growth. And in that space, him and I, we designed this experience of caregiving and cancer before we even got here. And for him, he had already reached his galactic being ranking, meaning he didn't have to come back into this physical reality. His soul was already evolved. It was free. He didn't really have to come back into this reincarnation cycle, but he chose to come back for me and for those around him to assist us in our ascension and, his growth as well. And also in that moment, I realized something else. The harder the trauma, the deeper the pain, the greater the spiritual rank on the other side. And that blew my mind. This physical realm is not a test. It is the training ground. Every hardship, every suffering, every seemingly unbearable moment is a path towards elevation. Suddenly, my husband's illness was not just an experience of suffering. It was an agreement we had made together long before we took our first breath in this lifetime. It was a promise to push each other into our highest path of growth and evolution. And these are what I call our soul contracts with other people, which we will dive into later in another episode. So the funny thing is, I used to look at trauma through the eyes of judgment. Why do people hurt others? Why do bad things happen to good people? Why is there so much suffering? But once I started to see things through my spiritual eyes, through my higher self, I realized something that cracked me wide open. Everything is a contract. Everything is a lesson. Everything is a chance for elevation. The person who betrayed you, guess what? A teacher. The heartbreak that shattered you, guess what? A redirection. The loss that broke you to your knees, guess what? A soul contract fulfilled. The illness that made you question everything, a wake-up call. When you start seeing life through this lens, you stop blaming. You stop being a victim of your story and start becoming the fucking author of it. You start transmuting your pain into wisdom, your wounds into power. You start meeting trauma at the door and saying, what are you here to teach me or us? Because that is truly how you reclaim your soul's journey. That is how you take back your power. So why, dear trauma, it's me? Why am I here telling you this story? Oh, expand, Nicole, expand. Because I know what it feels like to be buried under the weight of your experience, believing that they are meant to break you, when that is not necessarily the truth. I know what it feels like to question your own strength, to wonder if you'll ever feel whole again. And I also know what it feels like to wake up to the truth, to find the purpose in it all. See, trauma isn't just something to survive. It is actually something to transcend, to learn from, to use as fuel for your highest elevation. And this is why this space exists. So you don't have to do this alone. So we can go down this rabbit hole together. So we can start looking at our experiences with a new set of eyes, a new lens, with eyes that see beyond the pain and into the divine blueprint that was there all along. So think about it. What if your deepest pain was actually a portal? What if your trauma wasn't meant to punish you, but to awaken you? Welcome to Dear Trauma, It's Me, where we don't just talk about pain, we transform it. We don't just talk about pain, we transform it. If this message spoke to you, I invite you to stay connected, subscribe, leave a comment, share your thoughts. Let's build this community together, because this isn't just my journey. It is our journey together.